I love making fried rice because it's a perfect opportunity to use up any leftovers that you have in the fridge, in particular, some leftover rice. It makes a delicious base and you can use lots of different sauces to really brighten it up. So I'm going to start with an omelette here. I need 2 eggs and I've got a large wok that I'm just going to turn on to a medium to high heat. So we'll crack the eggs straight into a bowl. And I love the flavour of sesame oil, so I'm also going to add just a hint of sesame oil to the eggs. So let's just say 2 or 3 drops. And I'll just break the yolks up. And you want to whisk it until all of the egg white and the egg yolks are combined nicely. You don't want to see any speckles of it. Now in the wok we just need a little bit of vegetable oil, just a thin film, and then we want to coat the base and around the wok because we are going to make a very thin, quite a large omelette here. So once that's heated up, we can add the egg. And what you want to do, just like you're making a crepe, you want to swirl the egg so it almost reaches the top of that wok there. And we want to get rid of all of that liquid, and you'll see it starts to cook immediately. Now that is set, so I'm just going to fold the omelette onto itself, and that's the first stage of our fried rice. So we'll take it out of the wok. Now let's get on to the base of the fried rice. I've got a little bit of ginger here, some garlic essential, 2 big fat cloves of garlic I'll bruise, and then we'll just roughly chop. And then I've still got my wok on here. In goes the oil. And you just want to start frying this for it to soften and to become fragrant. So in with the garlic. Now to this I'm going to add some spring onions and the roots and stems of the coriander. It's really, really fragrant and I don't want to waste it, so just finely chop the coriander and the spring onions together. And we'll reserve the leaves of the coriander because I'll garnish with that right at the end. And we don't need the dark green part of the spring onions. We can keep that for stock later on. Okay, this can also go in at this stage. Perfect. And we'll just quickly toss that. And once it starts to become fragrant, which it is now, I can add our rice. Now this rice has just come to room temperature and we want to add it. It actually works much better with leftover rice because it's not as sticky. Great. And while that heats up, I'm going to prepare our duck. I think the addition of the duck makes it a little bit more glamorous than that classic leftover style fried rice. Now I've got a Chinese style roast duck here, and again this is going to be heated in the stir fry. It's got those beautiful flavours like 5 spice, so I don't need to add extra. I'm going to just use a small amount here, so I'm just going to cut off the leg and I'm just going to cut straight down. And then we're just going to take the skin off too because that's where all the flavour is. Fabulous. And then all I'm going to do is just shred this meat. You can chop it if you like, but I want to make it quite rustic, so just shred that meat straight into the rice. Now you can add as much or as little of the duck into this. Don't forget there are lots of other flavours, so a little bit of duck goes quite a long way for this recipe. Now, I've always got shiitake mushrooms in my pantry, dried shiitake mushrooms, and they're fantastic when you have occasions like this, when you do want to make a stir fry or a fried rice. I've just rehydrated them in some warm water, and you'll see they soften up quite nicely. They've really got an intense mushroom flavour, and they go fantastically with the duck. And in they go. Now this is coming together really nicely, but we need to give it a hit of sauce. In my sauce, really easy measurements to remember. A little bit of oyster sauce. We need 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce into a bowl, and you can roughly measure it because what we're wanting is even amounts of this oyster sauce to a little bit of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of that. Great, and now I want a little bit of heat in here, so some chili jam. You can add as much or as little. I'm just going to give it quite a lot because the rice will absorb a lot of the flavour there. All right, last thing is some sesame oil, and I'm adding about half a teaspoon in there. We'll give that a mix, and it simply goes straight over the rice there. We'll scrape all of that out. And then again, we're going to give it one really nice toss so each grain of rice there gets coated in that yummy, salty, almost sweet sauce there. That's looking fantastic. I've left my peas to the last minute. Now, I'll leave the peas to the last minute because I really want them to retain that gorgeous green colour, and then they can go in along with the reserved coriander leaves. I'm just going to slice them really roughly. And I'm adding quite a lot to this because I love that freshness that the coriander gives to this. Okay, it's looking really vibrant now. So, last item, don't forget the egg because I think this is crucial in any fried rice. And I'm just going to chop this in half, and then we'll just slice it so we've got little ribbons of this omelette throughout this fried rice. And you do want to leave this to the very last minute because you don't want that egg to overcook, because what will happen is it'll be a little bit spongy. Okay, this is looking fabulous. I can't wait to try this. All I need is to get a bowl and I can have a taste. How good is this fried rice done in 8 minutes, showcasing delicious duck? It really takes fried rice to the next level. This is really going to test me because my chopstick skills are not very good, particularly with rice, but I know for sure I can pick up that delicious duck. You know what, chopsticks are fantastic, but it's just going to take forever. I'm going old-fashioned way, just use a spoon.